waiting for you.
Hey everybody, Zuka here from The Lich in the Dungeon, here with my co-host Zanke Kiyamane, and our guest, Classy Kilroy from the Classy Kilroy channel. There's been a link down in the description of the last few videos that we've uploaded to this channel, but I'll put one down there for this one as well. So, we're back again with a cookie cutter dungeon.
Girl,
Dungeon! Wait. Cooking!
Alright, so we're gonna do this one. It's gonna be fantastic.
So, I believe a little recap as to what we are doing is kind of in order, because that way if somebody hadn't watched the first video and is stumbling upon this one, it's important. Alright, we are GMs, most of us anyway. Some of us aspire to be one. Some of us aspire to be one too. We love to make dungeons, adventures, and whatnot for people, and sometimes GMs and DMs alike get very stumped on what they're supposed to do and what's supposed to help them go forward. And we thought of something great. Why don't you just either order like Chinese takeout or just go to the store and buy some fortune cookies and pull one out, crack it open, and use the fortune to maybe, juice up an idea that you maybe want to pull out a dungeon for. And so what we're going to do here today is we're going to crack open a fortune cookie, read the fortune off, and create an adventure out of it, basically.
Yeah. I think I'm going to add an annotation to the playlist that we have going at the end of this video and all consecutive videos. But no promises on that. That's if I remember.
Also, I want to say thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it's
I'm
great.
very excited
Great to have you on.
To do this. And when they told me about this, the first thing I said is, wow, I really want Chinese now.
It is.
It really is the first thing I said. But no, I think that this is a great idea, and it's definitely what we're doing is even great for a great improv strategy.
Very.
If you need to work on that as your own GM tactics. So
I have a video on that, so you should watch it as well.
you should.
But anyway, without further ado, you can have the F.
Yes!
And you can have the F.
Yay! Shove it in my face.
Shove it in the face. Okay,
Okay.
dang it. Oh my god, it's so bad. The current year will bring you much happiness. This is almost exactly like the first one we did. But I'll get that in there. I'm sure you can't read it.
Probably.
I have confidence that you are unable to read it.
We have confidence that Sony Vegas Pro can put it in there.
But now, we did think it was a really hard one, the last one, and we still managed to pull something pretty cool out of it, so...
Yeah, but this is like almost gonna be a repeat.
But there's a lot you can do with this one.
Okay, this one has the word year in it.
Yeah,
that's
the
very
current
important.
year will bring you much happiness.
Yeah. But the thing, if you guys don't mind me starting off with a
Go
quick
ahead,
thing, thinking about, the first thing you can think about is, what else works in years? The Zodiacs.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you could honestly have the current Zodiac cycle that's supposed to be there, or, a lot of times it's a single animal for a certain Zodiac. You could have that be a big boss at the end of a place that you get to. Going through this whole thing, talking about, going through, like the cultures and stuff like that. And, not to mention, you could also have, the 12 Zodiac, I was thinking Chinese New Year, but, for the first one, but then the actual Zodiacs, you could actually go through and have something having to deal with each of them, too.
Plenty of different animals that are definitely in, especially for like D&D with 5th edition, has tons of those animals and creatures like those animals that can be used. For instance, you have like 2 whole actual monsters that go along with like Taurus, if you're talking about like the Zodiac and stuff like that, or the Bull, depending on which one. You have like, not only do you have Minotaur, but apparently Gorgons in the Dungeons and Dragons world look a whole lot like bulls.
Oh yeah,
steel bulls that breathe and turn you to stone.
Yeah, and not to mention if you're doing like the rooster or the snake or the dragon. Dragon would be the easiest one.
Bam.
Oh, yeah.
It's not called Dungeons and Dragons for any specific reason or whatnot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that stuff that can work with it. Like, not to mention, you could have it installed for not just one campaign, but a whole, like not just one adventure, but a whole campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of something you're trying to do throughout a year in game.
So let's run with the Zodiac idea. Maybe we're just making a dungeon based off of the Zodiac. So obviously, the dungeon is gonna have like a happy ending. We're not gonna betray the party this time. But so I went ahead and brought up off camera on a screen the Chinese Zodiacs. So we have rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. These are all monsters in the monster manual for D&D 5e. A lot of others have these options. So like, how many of them are there?
There are 12.
Sure. Okay, so that's what I was thinking.
4 times 3 is 12.
So you'd have total of like 12 encounters if you wanted to separate them one at a time.
Exactly. Not to mention, they don't even all have to be like fighting encounters. Goat, you could have it be a satyr.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which can still be a fighting encounter.
Yeah, it could if you wanted it to, but it's also, a possible way for your players to get some wise information or to learn something about what you want them to fight.
And it's important to note that it can be super unique. Like these don't, like we were saying, don't have to be fighting encounters. Maybe one of these, there's some riddle out there that involves like a pig or a monkey or something like that you don't necessarily want to use a monster from the actual monster manual for, or whatever. Especially if you're like playing another like game that maybe there's not that many monsters that fit this agenda. Maybe they get sent to like different riddle rooms where they find questions that involve these animals, or maybe they get asked questions by these animals, like some kind of spiritual form of the animal.
I mean, even thinking about like the Star Wars role-playing and stuff like that definitely does not have stuff exactly like this. You could mix it to be different races of, well, what's a really tough race? Well, that's the race that signifies the ox, and stuff like that. And you can make it work.
And there's definitely, from what I understand, tons of races in there. And I'm sure there's some that fit these bills, basically.
As long as there's 12 races or types of enemies, you could probably make it work.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, as a side note, if you plan on using the Zodiac while we're talking about this at any point in time in your campaign, you have to make it prevalent throughout your campaign so that it has an effect when you get to it. Because if, like, you go and you never talk about the Zodiac and you never talk about the stars in the sky that the players are seeing, and you go for, like, 5 or 6 sessions and never talk about it, and then suddenly, oh, by the way, a constellation in the sky has disappeared. They don't care.
They weren't ever aware that they were there.
Or, by the way, Ares is now down here to kill you.
Yeah. Well,
which would be slightly aggressive.
Saying Ares is a problem because that's a Greek god, but, like, Aquarius or Pisces or
something
Taurus,
like that.
But they don't care. So you have to make it prevalent throughout everything if you actually want it to work. Just on the topic of sighting and horoscoping and all that mess.
So like we were saying before too, mentioning the other Zodiac, you can use any Zodiac or sign, but just from what we understand, it's just pick one and kind of keep to that. And I think it can make some very interesting things. Like, I mean, even as far as I was thinking back to D&D, Monkey, there's giant apes in the animal section. That's perfect. And of course, dragons.
Rats.
I mean, and there's pretty much dire everything.
Yeah.
Snakes can go from anything being Nagas to Kodals to anything.
And Nagas are fun. You've done some stuff with Nagas with our groups. Also, another idea I was just thinking about looking at that is you could have something happen on one of the solstices.
Yeah.
You could, I mean, stuff like that. You could have it be, well, there's one day a year where this happens, and that could be a day that was planned for an invasion, for the apocalypse, but you could stop it. A lot of these things, like, it's like there could be happiness if X is stopped, kind of thing. So,
and of course, we're talking the Chinese Zodiac currently. That is a yearly Zodiac. That is, you have the year of blank. So the year fits pretty well in. Of course, we're using a fortune cookie, so that
works pretty well.
Oriental origin, so that figures why it kind of fits. But
yeah, and that too, if you think about it like that, just pick one of them and have it be like maybe the year that they're in, whatever part of it you choose, and base your dungeon completely around that. And of course, we're not getting as detailed as we can because again, this is so vague. Is because we ourselves, this comes down to preference. Do you want a dungeon based around just one of these? Do you want set 12 is 12?
Yeah.
12 trials for them to go through that involve these 12 things.
Yeah.
Do you want them to have have to go and fight like a horse clan and then like the ox king and then the tiger monks?
Mm-hmm. Or like if you don't want to use specific monsters that have to do with this, like trials dealing with similar things to the Zodiac. Like rat could be sneaking, ox could be a strength contest.
Yeah.
Tiger could be a cunning.
Yeah.
Rabbit could be a speed and dexterity one. Dragon, you could
magic, like
have fun
supernatural.
with magic. Or if you have dragonborns in your group, you could try to have them be more involved with their
snake is obviously dexterity.
Well,
horse is
or even
pulling power.
Also, I was thinking like lies. Maybe they're given some kind of like information that could actually help them progress. But if they say it out loud, maybe it endangers them more than actually thinking it. So maybe with the snake trial, it's keeping this secret or not using this information because snakes usually are in cahoots with lies and stuff in a lot of different cultures.
Oh yeah.
And then horse could be like pulling power or physical labor.
Or even endurance at that point.
Yeah. Goat could be an eating contest. Have some fun, like pick A or B meal, which is poisoned.
Yeah. Not to mention, again, you could go Seder route.
Yeah.
Then the pig could be like the
pig
eating
could be an eating contest.
Or pig could be a cooking contest. I don't know.
True.
Shake it up. Make something else funny with it.
Dog could be that there can only be one person who's the leader, and they can't participate, but they have to give direction to the other people that are around doing stuff.
Monkey is obviously climbing. Like that seems pretty straightforward.
Or banana throwing. I mean, depending on how you want to do that.
Again, do you want to go right on to where it's actually a challenge kind of thing, or just it's fun?
Super silly. You can do super silly with this. Rooster, I'm having trouble thinking of one.
Rooster could be something that it's an event that happens very early in the morning, so that it has to be taken care of. That your group learns about it during the day,
The time
but
trial.
they can't sleep.
Yeah.
They can't take that long rest, and they have to get it done.
Sort of like a time trial.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly. You could do time trials with that one, which would be actually a lot of fun to see happen too.
Yeah, so I think that about covers all of that for. I do like that idea the most, though, is the 12 like trials of the Zodiac. I really do enjoy that, and then kind of shake it up, and depending on what kind of GM you are, if you want to put them through just all rigorous stuff, or you want to put them through some funny stuff.
There's a lot of fun ones that you can have to do with it, and there's just so much flexibility.
And if you're still really struggling for ideas, there are a lot of free sites online that will describe different qualities about the Zodiac. The one I'm currently using just to look at a list is Horoscope.com. I'll put a link in the description because they were useful. But you can click on the different ones, and it'll bring up descriptions. So for rat, any need to control the situations. That's the actual horoscope. Whoops. I'm good at this. I'm a professional. I promise.
But as he was saying, it looks like it would be useful if you're looking for information, or even actually use the spot-on horoscope for maybe the day with them to use them.
Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, that's even stuff like people that are on a lot of social media will post their horoscopes for the day.
Yeah.
If you want to pick up the newspaper that your city either gives out for free or $1, you can look at horoscopes usually in that as well.
Yeah, use that for your players, figure out what their signs are or whatever it is,
and see how each one is going to affect them,
and maybe kind of affect their character in some way like that. Or even to a certain degree, if your players are into it that much that they have birthdays set up for them, have their horoscopes come into effect in whatever dungeon or adventure you're going on with this.
And not even to mention, you can mix the Zodiacs together. You could have the 12 trials of the Chinese Zodiac, but also have the effects of the daily one that you've looked up in your newspaper, knowing the sign for each of your players, because I know for our group the age range is very similar and very close, so a lot of us would have the same Chinese Zodiac.
Yeah.
But we were born through many different times of the year, so we would have a different
that actually is because you base kind of what you're putting in as the Chinese Zodiac, that can be flexible in that sense, and then the rest is what boon or maybe downside that your players have to either fight through or fight with.
Or the second they entered the dungeon, this thing affected them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might not be something that affects them outside.
Yeah, it's just this dungeon.
But it's just this dungeon, or this town is plagued with this, or something like that.
And so say you didn't want to go stereotypical and use the Chinese Zodiac, because a lot of mediums have used the Chinese Zodiac, especially the 12 Trials of the Zodiac. I've seen that a lot. Say you want to do Western, because that's like never seen. There are 12 Western Zodiac symbols as well. You can still do 12 Trials, and it won't seem nearly as cliche.
Yeah.
And they all have like similar, as the Chinese, they all have similar like traits. So you can do that too.
There's also a lot more, like, even just looking at, you know, the Western ones, like looking at Sagittarius. That's a bow contest. That's something you wouldn't actually probably see from a Chinese Zodiac trial.
Yeah, they might go into a little bit more detail.
Exactly.
And of course, the Western Zodiac covers the year, whereas the Chinese Zodiacs cover multiple years.
You're just gonna have to be careful with that wonderful little Aries put in.
Yeah.
But Aries has multiple names. You can find something that means the same. So.
Yeah. Gods, I'm sure there are plenty of people that have some similar names to a lot of the gods in the world.
Yeah.
So it all depends on how you run your gods.
And it might also be, as a DM or GM, you choose that because of what you're doing with this, that the context that the god does not mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know that this is a way that people have classified it.
And again, I do like the idea that we've gone with it with the trials, because then that's very useful in all of your other systems if you're not playing Dungeons and Dragons. Call of Cthulhu, that's a trials day thing.
Trials.
Like it's trials, and your characters can have feats of. They can be strong, or they can be intelligent, or they can be, wise. So they can still make it through these trials. It's not something super outlandish. Not that anything in like Call of Cthulhu is outlandish, but it's a little bit less fantasy driven and more overall arcing.
Not to mention, it's not one adventure. This it works for like a campaign setting versus like, oh crap, I forgot to come up with an adventure. I have no idea. Let me, order takeout and come up with something. This is, oh my gosh, I forgot to do one adventure. I get this. Oh wow, now I have my adventures for the next month.
Yeah.
For the next 2 months, So.
And that's kind of the idea behind this cookie cutter dungeon thing, because it's not just like, oh no, they just messed up my plans, now I need a dungeon. It's also like you're sitting at home on like Monday night, if you game on Friday. Some people don't, but say like I game on Friday, we game on Friday. So like you're like sitting there Monday night trying to play, and you're like, oh man, I need a good like campaign story arc. Get some Chinese takeout. Monday's great for that.
Yeah.
And then you can just crack open the fortune cookie and be like, oh, let's see what my fortune is. The current year will bring you much happiness. Oh man, this is a year-long campaign arc.
Yeah.
So.
Or you go, oh snap, I have no idea what to do with this. And then you have heard about, our wonderful site from your buddy, and you come and get some ideas.
Yeah.
So.
I think that'll do it. I think we've like exhausted everything.
I think again, it's not one of those that we could really go word for word with the dungeon, and I think we've done the very best that if anybody actually wants to use this, they can use it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if there's any other ideas, go ahead and comment.
Comment
I'm
on
sure
comment
we'd all love to hear them.
If there's something we didn't think about, let us know.
And if it's a comment that, they'll relay it, so I get to hear this stuff too, which is awesome.
Definitely.
But I think that's gonna be it. Hopefully next time we'll get one that we can actually write a legitimate dungeon for. Because this is twice we've had to be super vague. We'll get one eventually, I promise. I've seen good ones in there when we were doing our 2 dry runs.
Yep.
And thank you guys again for letting me be on here to help
We are
out
very,
with us.
very happy for you to be on.
So I guess we'll go on a line for sign-outs, and then we'll see you later. So go for it.
And this is Zanke saying, remember, a drunken dwarf is still an angry dwarf.
Everybody stay classy.
And this is Zuka's Lod. Until the adventure ends, signing out.
Leaving already? Do come back. Oh.